Hey guys, I have Albert here. He's a client of mine that I took from low 500 score to a 750, and he was able to purchase a home.
I appreciate that, bro. Thank you.
So I'm gonna ask you a couple questions. We'll start out with like what life was like before. How did you feel before you got your credit fixed?
Before, self confidence was broken, knowing that I had no safety net I could fall back on for emergencies. I knew that with a 500 credit score, I wouldn't get approved for anything, nothing.
Yeah. So what were some external things that people would like observe about you before you decided to fix your credit?
Honestly, bro, the area that I lived in, you didn't even have a credit to apply for anything. Like you didn't have to use your credit to apply for the apartment, so it was really run down. The area that I lived in wasn't really that safe. Uh, you
Uh,
know, um, yeah, it's
Yeah, yeah, that's motivation to get out of there for sure.
for sure.
So during the purchase, like what made you actually take the next step? Like what were you fed up with?
I was fed up with not being for my situation. I couldn't breathe because of all the debt, but I also wanted to be able to have like a credit card that I once I was like I could have financial fallback.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
It was like a hard situation. Very when I was young, just got into debt. Wasn't responsible. So, but now I'm older. And now it's easier understanding the steps. Does that make sense?
yeah, yeah, that does. I mean, I was about to ask you like internally, what are like some of the things you were most concerned about? You kind of just explained that like, some of the problems you were facing, but like,
Yeah, yeah. Some of the problems was of course debt, collections, hard inquiries. I
uh,
mean, I was a felon in the credit world, basically.
like in the eyes of a lender, in the eyes of the bank.
In the eyes of a lender, yeah. I mean, they saw my credit score and then my credit history, and they said,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Um, what were like some of your biggest concerns with having someone work on your credit?
Honestly, my biggest concern, and I told this to my fiance, and she was on the same boat as me, was honestly was just sharing my social security.
Yeah,
Oh, and then also my fear was that I didn't have much money to even pay for it. So
uh,
how could I trust somebody with money?
yeah. It takes a little bit to get over that trust factor, but
Yeah,
it ended up being worth it
and I appreciate that we put our faith, our financial faith in your hands.
for sure. And then, like, what made you take that step and decide to do it anyways, even though you had like a lack of trust for, you know, people in the credit repair space?
I think for this it was three things or two things, major things. I wanted financial freedom, and I
Mhm.
wanted to get out where from the area that I lived in, and I needed good credit if I wanted to buy a home. That's
Yeah.
what I that's what was my plan.
What like pushed you over the edge? Like, I'm just I'm gonna trust this guy. Like, did you see?
I remember going and we needed something and we didn't have the cash for it, and I told my girl, I was like, hey, I can't afford cash. If I could afford a credit card, I would be able to make payments on it. But I couldn't, and it broke her, knowing that I couldn't get it for her right there and there.
Yeah. All right. So yeah. I know you said you tried to apply for a mortgage and it didn't work out and things like that, and they denied you. Was there anything that like what made you choose me out of all the other credit repair companies?
I saw somebody that I knew that I trusted, that trusted you. So I said, I trust you as well. And it all goes hand in hand. The community speaks, and your feedback, all the feedback I got from you, from the people you've worked with, and I just took the jump and I said, okay, let's do this.
Mhm,
There's not much. I trusted the people who trusted you,
mhm.
and I saw that it worked for them. So I took the jump.
Yeah, that's why I like posting the results that I get, even though it's hard to even keep up with. I only post a certain amount of it, but I like doing that because then it shows people that there's a lot of people in their situation. They have the collections, they have the late payments, and it just takes a little bit to gain that trust.
The results will come in. This is my call to you, you to me, but I can talk about my fiance now, my now fiance. This was when she was my girlfriend, but now that we bought the home and she's my fiance now, and finally started her credit. But I mean, that's
Mhm.
besides. We could talk about
Yeah,
that too.
yeah, for sure. What's life like now, less than a year later after the credit repair process?
Look at bro. Look at the background. You can't find one of those in the hood I was from.
Yeah, most apartments there's no fireplace. Yeah.
There's not even a fire extinguisher in my neighborhood, my old neighborhood. They used to steal them off the walls. Anyways, I have a nice, beautiful home. I have a 6-car driveway now. I have a chicken coop now. I have a dog. We lived in apartments for almost 29 years, bro. I never owned a dog in my life, and
Mhm.
my kids wanted a dog, and I could finally do it for them. I can go on the list. I have a laundry room now. Apartments that all the apartment room that we lived in didn't have a laundry room. There's stuff. It's a nice house. Life is beautiful.
Yeah, that's
Finance and financially, I got approved for credit cards that I would never have been approved for in the past. In the past, I was always approved for secure credit cards where I had to give my money first, and then they lend me that money. And
mhm.
now, I'm responsible with them. I'm paying them down. I don't use them over 35%. I don't max out every credit card that I get. I have a fair amount of them. I have a couple of them, and I stay on top of them. I make the payments early. It's also about staying responsible after you clean the system.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big part of it. And I'm glad that you asked the questions, you took the advice and you ran with it once your credit was fixed.
One thing I do appreciate about you, Hunter, is that if I have a question about credit, even though you're done with my resume, you still can answer a question if I answer it. I know that you're busy and you still take the time to answer it. Either 1 or 2 days later, I'll get a reply knowing that it's from you because I have your direct number and I know that I can trust your answer. And I
Yeah, for
appreciate it.
sure.
And if I have any other uh, problems with my credit, I know that I can return to you because the results are there.
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely, man. I'm always here if you need any advice like in the credit space, business funding, anything like that. So I'm just glad you trusted me. You were patient throughout the process, the 6 months, and it was definitely worth it. So, thanks
It
for
was worth
that,
it.
and thanks for taking the time to do the testimonial as well. I think it'll
Yeah.
help some people gain the trust, if they're
If
right there on the brink of like making a decision, um, deciding whether they want to fix their situation or not.
Hey, I mean, the results will speak for themselves.
Mhm.
Those who need it will get it, and those who doubt it will lose it. Because if you don't take the jump, take the step forward, nothing gets accomplished by itself. And by me trusting the people who trusted you and seeing the results, that sold me, and now look at us. And I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right, I'll catch you later, man. Thanks for doing the
Thank you.
testimonial.
Thank you. All right.
Later.